Hi there, my name is Kelly Jan, and I am an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. And I'm so excited to get to talk to a couple of ladies this evening who have seen some pretty amazing results with natural supplementation with migraines specifically. Now, there may be some other things that they'll talk about that some of these products have helped them with as well. But specifically, I want them to focus tonight on migraines. And it looks like with some internet issues, we've had some people coming in and out. But I am going to go ahead and start with Lisa Hauser. Lisa, I'm so glad that you can join us. Let me make sure that I can unmute you. Okay, I think we can hear you now. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So Lisa, if you can tell us a little bit about your journey with migraines, maybe tell us about some of the medications you were on, some of the things that migraines have maybe made you have to go through in your life, struggles, in your family, with your marriage, your everyday life, all of those things, and then how over the past year you've seen a significant reduction and really a huge life change.
Sure. So I've had migraines since I was a kid, but they didn't get horribly bad until probably the last 3 years. And it got to the point where I was having a migraine almost every day. And the days in between when I didn't have a migraine, I still wasn't functioning because I had no energy. I was pretty much, I don't know if you can see my couch back there, but that was my home, my couch or my bed. I have two small kids, 7 and 9, and I would sleep all night, and it would take everything in me to just get my kids off to school so that I could lay back down and be done for the day until they came home from school. I would give myself one job that I had to get done for the day, whether it was one load of laundry or one errand to the store, and just little stuff like that that we really take for granted. And something as small as folding a load of laundry was more than I had the energy for. So I was constantly in pain, constantly struggling with energy. And I've always wanted to be a mom, and I felt like I couldn't be the mom I wanted to be. I was missing out on all of the fun things with my family. Mommy was always sleeping. So they'd come home from school and they would have to be really quiet when I'm trying to help them with their homework and just doing those things that moms have to do. My husband would pick up dinner on the way home because I didn't have the energy to go to the store, and I definitely didn't have the energy to cook a meal for my family. And so I got to the point where I didn't recognize that person anymore. I was always someone that was very healthy. I was always exercising. And so I lost a big part of myself to migraines because they just took everything away from me. I was craving all of these carbs and sweets and all the things that you know are so bad for you. And they just kept feeding that migraine cycle. And so I could just never get out of it. And I was seeing rheumatologists and neurologists, and they just kept throwing more prescription medicine my way. And I was taking between 3 and 4 prescription medicines a day. Every day I would take a migraine preventative. I'd take something else for joint pain because I was having intense neck and back pain and knee pain. And I'm 35 years old, and I felt like I was, significantly older. Just all of these things that were going wrong in my body. I had no idea how important gut health was. I knew nothing about it, knew nothing that not sleeping at night, having insane cravings, migraines, all of those were connected. And so when one of my good friends started telling me about some of the products she was using for her gut health issues, I was definitely desperate. I had tried acupuncture and massage therapy on my neck and back, and those were definitely helping, but they weren't long-term solutions. They were very expensive, and as soon as I stopped going on a consistent basis, everything came right back. So I started doing some of the products that she was using. So I was doing a probiotic, a magnesium supplement, and something that was stabilizing my blood sugar. So all things that were targeting kind of fixing the insides of my body. And I noticed by the second week that my migraines weren't coming as frequently, and they weren't as intense. They weren't to the point where I would be out for the rest of the day. we were around the same time going to Atlanta on a family vacation. And normally I wouldn't be able to do anything that was outside, anything that required standing up for long periods of time, anything with, stimulation everywhere. So basically, mommy was no fun. I couldn't do any of that stuff. And just around that 2-week mark, I was going to baseball games outside. I was going to the playground with my family and going and doing all the touristy things and functioning. And I started to think maybe there is something to, just fixing the gut health. And I, from that day on, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm in it. I'm doing this every single day. I was consistent with my products. I was drinking the water, doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing. And little by little, everything started to fall into place. A few months after being on all these products, I was able to get off all of my prescription medicine. So a year later, I am off every single one of my prescription meds.
That's awesome.
I have not taken one emergency migraine med in that time. My pharmacist and I used to have a relationship. She would see me coming and get my little bag ready for me. It was really embarrassing. But I'm doing the things that I want to do, exercising, playing with my kids. They're home with me full time over the summer, and I get to be the fun mom, that I always wanted to be, but I never could. So it's just been huge for me.
No, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about how long you've had your migraines, I mean, I'm sure it just became a part of your life, and you just felt like, well, I mean, if all these medications can't fix me, this is just something I'm going to have to suffer with forever. And so to now be, in comparison, virtually almost headache free and not on any medication, it just gives me chills to even say that. I've never had a migraine, so I can't even imagine what one would feel like, much less 3 to 4 a week.
And just to talk about that a little bit, I was also on an antidepressant. That was one of my meds, because having a chronic condition like migraines, you go through a lot of depression. Just, this is never ending. Nothing's going to work. This is my life, and how awful it's become. And just, I'm happier. And just, I can't say enough about just how my life has changed over the past year.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mute you here, and I'm going to have Erin Martin share with us. So Erin, you're unmuted. When I first met Erin, actually was in a car on our way to a fitness retreat.
Yeah.
And at the time, Erin was living overseas and had come over to the States to visit with family. And we were on our way down in the same car together, and she was actually in the process of having a migraine. And I said, hey, let's pull over right now. I have something I want you to try. And again, I don't know what the feeling of a migraine is, but she looked pretty desperate. And she basically said, whatever it is, I'm willing to try it. And how far you've come since then, and not just me, but your stepsister, just so many people in your life saying, yes, please try these products, that you finally said, okay, whatever it is, I'll try it.
Exactly. I thought I had the family curse of migraines. So when I heard that, hey, this might help, I really was pretty skeptical, because my aunt, my uncle, my dad, my grandma, everyone, had migraines. So I just thought it was like hereditary. And then once I'd get the change, they'd go away. That's what had been told my whole life. So it was actually not a big surprise that I was having them in my 20s, and then in my 30s just started getting more and more intense. So things would trigger them, really common migraine triggers. If you are a migraine sufferer, you know that the weather change, stress, food, bananas, kind of food, things that you think, are just normal everyday activities can actually trigger a migraine for you. So that was happening to me. I would actually lose sight. I always wave here because it kind of just came over here. I'd have to take heavy prescriptions to basically knock myself out. It wasn't like it was making it go away. It was just to help me deal with the pain of it, and then enough for me to go to sleep, which that doesn't work well when you're trying to, do life. Excuse me if my internet is spotty. The weather is a little strange where I am right now. Again, would be a time that would kick up a migraine, which I feel amazing. So happy to say that 2 years later, that I echo what Lisa says, that oh, lo and behold, it was actually a gut health thing, which I was actually feeding some. So yes, some was family genetics, but the other piece was I was in a cycle of caffeine. I was in a cycle of carbs and sugar. Chronic fatigue made me do that. Just pounding the coffee. I even remember when I sampled that, Slim, for the first time, that blood sugar stabilizer from you. I remember saying, well, when can I have my coffee? And you were like, well, just, whenever you're ready, but, you're not going to need it after a few days. And that's true. So I actually still enjoy coffee very much, but I don't have like one. And it's just such a relief. It's freedom, and it's not feeling chained to this family history. I actually have some control over what happens to me and what happens to my future. So that's really what I feel like, is I got my life back, or got a life that I didn't think I was able to have.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So when your doctor, I'm sure you've probably seen your doctor or talked to your doctor about, maybe, hey, I don't need to refill these prescriptions. What has sort of his or her response been to what you're doing?
I'm skeptical. I'll be honest with you. Doctors are trained to treat disease. Not a lot are trained in more of a preventative approach. And so I'm on the hunt actually now for a more holistic doctor, because now we know much more and the research is there. The books are out. You can find medical journals where they're actually seeing the connection between this gut, which my brother says is a really gross word, and if he'd really wish we'd come up with a new word. But basically, our organs are connected. Everything is, it's all one thing. It's not just here. So, like I said, my doctors, they were skeptical, but they said, well, if you're feeling better, then carry on. So I do.
Good. Now, I'll ask this question to both you and Lisa. Lisa, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you again. Did you find that, Erin, you mentioned that with the weather, that might be something that would trigger your migraines. Did either of you suffer more or less when it was sort of that time of the month, just hormonal issues that would bring it on? Or is that?
Oh, definitely. I'll say something. Yeah, definitely. And that's even another department that I didn't even realize I was having, pretty severe hormonal things related to, that time of the month. I don't know how to say that eloquently, but even those symptoms have lessened. My moodiness is a lot less. I don't know if my husband would agree, but as he walked into the room. Certainly seeing a lot less, those hormonal changes, and definitely no migraines. Lisa.
What about you, Lisa?
Might be a little TMI, but with the birth control that I use, I actually don't have my time of the month anymore. So I don't have the hormonal changes. Now, I know that you are still receiving hormones through that, but I have not had migraines related to hormones.
Okay, gotcha. So as we wrap up tonight, ladies, I want you to think about two questions. One of the things that sometimes people ask me is, when will you stop taking the Plexus products, or how long do you have to take Plexus products? I want you to think about what your answer to that is. And then also, to someone who may be watching or listening to this either now or as a recording, who is thinking, you know what, I've got these migraines, but maybe I'm a little bit afraid of something that I don't know, and I'm a little bit skeptical. What would you say to them to get them to try these products? So maybe if you can answer both of those questions. And Lisa, since you're on my screen, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Well, I would first say that I do not ever want to stop taking the products, because I do not ever want to go back to being that person that's sleeping and not functioning through life. It was just miserable, and I don't even recognize that person. I never want to go back. And to the person that is thinking about trying it, I would say, first of all, you've probably tried everything that your doctor suggested. You've checked everything on the internet and done every food change and all the things you can think of. What do you have to lose by trying this? It's helped myself. It's helped my husband. It's helped so many people that I know. What have you got to lose? Give it a shot, is what I'd say.
Awesome. And what about you, Erin?
Well, I would say take a look at the ingredients, and knowing how the body system works and the body functions. It kind of makes sense when you think about the magnesium, for example. And ours specifically, our magnesium doesn't make you nauseous. I know that some people try to use a different magnesium that can make them nauseous. This doesn't do that. But magnesium is a muscle relaxer. So when you start thinking about pain and tightness and stiffness and pain, that it makes sense that it would work that way. And the blood sugar stabilizer that our pink drink, that helps with those triggers when your stress is lower, when you're not eating foods that might be triggers. So it kind of makes sense when you look at the ingredients that they would be effective with helping with migraines.
And what about when somebody asks you when do you plan on stopping taking the Plexus products, or how long do you have to take them?
Well, I never ever want to have migraines again. So probably never ever stop taking the products.
Absolutely.
I don't want that.
It's amazing to me sometimes how we are so quick to accept when a doctor tells us, well, you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life, and we accept that. And then when we think about natural supplementation, how we're so quick to say, well, when can I get off that? Well, why would you, like you said, why would you want to? If this is what's keeping your gut healthy and is regulating your body, then let's keep at that.
Exactly. And just to also, I'm sure Lisa experiences too, that the dosing of your prescriptions kept going up and up and up. And when, then you start adding, more for the nausea, and then you add it for the acid reflux, and you start adding, and suddenly you have a pile of pills that are actually not doing anything, but just kind of, maintaining. I don't even know if it was doing anything at all, to be honest with you. It was just probably knocking you out. But it was just masking the symptoms. It wasn't getting to the root of it. So I don't feel like I have to increase my Plexus dose every month. But that doesn't get, increased for me. So that's worth considering as well.
Great. Well, ladies, I want to thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I know that there are going to be many, many men and women who are going to listen to this recording or watch this recording later. And because you have shared your experience, they are going to say, just like you guys did, what the heck? What do I have to lose? I will try it. And they, a year from now, 6 months from now, a week from now, maybe saying, man, I'm so glad I took some time to watch it and listen to those ladies, because now I am on the path of not having migraines, and I'm on the path of coming off all of my prescription meds. And that's just, it's like the MasterCard commercial. I mean, that's something that is just priceless. So I thank you, ladies, for your time. I thank all of you who are listening with us live and who are taking the time to listen to this recording after the fact. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we will hopefully be able to see and hear about your own testimony with your migraines very, very